Welcome back into the Arrowhead Pride draft room. And the final time you were going to hear from us this NFL draft weekend, we're going to wrap up the Chiefs draft class. They are currently on the clock in the seventh round, pick number 250. The pick is in. We are awaiting the announcement. Caleb James, Ron Kopp, been doing all the work all weekend long, covering this entire NFL draft. And it's been a blast. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us all weekend long and checking out everything that we're doing here at Arrowhead Pride and at arrowheadpride.com. Seventh round, super late in the seventh round, too. Anybody here that is still on the board that you guys would be pretty excited to come away with this late in the draft?
Running back position, we've been kind of talking about. Sean Tucker has some medical red flags that were flagged at the combine that has made him drop a lot because he is definitely a better talent than what should be going in the seventh round. The Syracuse running backs, I'm looking at him, but also Keaton Mitchell, the East Carolina running back, big play guy, very fast in the open field, very smooth runner. I'm going to be a guy that's going to, make a lot of big plays. Unfortunately, he's kind of a smaller guy. Maybe more of a change of pace back than necessarily a guy you can ask, to play a lot. But definitely that big play guy. But Caleb, any guys you're thinking of right here?
Yeah, this late in the game, you might just be looking for guys who are going to be special teams contributors. I'd keep an eye on maybe like Ronnie Bell, the local prospect, Isaiah Land. He's an interesting edge type prospect with who could probably play special teams. And then Keaton Mitchell is also a running back. He's the fastest run, and he timed one of the fastest 40s of any back at the combine. So he's got a lot of speed and explosion. Andy might be able to do something like. Do they just totally take Hunter Lupke though?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah, no, I think the North Dakota State fullback. Hey, man, if we're talking positional needs on this team, man, the fullback position is one that actually, we need someone, right? We got Michael Burton in Denver now. I don't think we're bringing out Anthony Sherman from retirement. I think he's still just chilling, hanging out. So Hunter Lupke, we feeling it. I think that might be a good one.
Yeah, that would be a very Andy Reid pick, right? Like this late in the draft, Andy's like, I know the fullback might only play like 8 snaps a game, but I still like to have it as an option. And those fullback dives that replaced the quarterback sneak several years ago are things that Andy Reid still likes to mix in every now and then.
Hey, man, James Jones is about to announce this pick, so it's about to be live.
Yeah, make some noise for him, Kansas City.
Yes, sir. No, but if it's not running back, I do think it would make sense to even do another body on the interior defensive line. I think that would make sense too.
But yeah, Gerard Clark is still there.
Yeah. No. Nick Jones, a defensive back from Ball State, is the pick here. I do not have an opinion on him at the current moment.
So, hey, it's pick 250. It's fine.
Another defensive back though. That was one.
I know
one position. We all kind of felt like they may not need to address in the class, and they got 2 of them today.
I mean, we're spoiled with these late round DBs and late round draft picks, and Isaiah Pacheco and Jalen Watson, but. I mean, the Chiefs, even with their secondary being as deep as we believe it to be, and the talent that we saw them produce with so many young players last season, they picked up a couple more defensive backs in this class, and I don't hate it. Just like the previous DB that they took, I don't know if this guy's going to be anything more than a special teamer, but we probably said the same thing about Jalen Watson when he was taken last season, and even like Nazeeh Johnson, who was a late round pick for them, who is a player that got some snaps last season and might still develop into a guy that they could get some snaps from in the future. So that secondary's deep, and it's certainly not a problem for the Chiefs moving forward.
Yeah, no, Nick Jones, I'm just looking at his player profile right now. He is a corner. I'm getting this right this time, I promise. He's not, I'm not lying to you. He actually plays the cornerback position in college, played on the perimeter. Comes in at just under 6 feet tall, 189 pounds, played at Ball State for 4 seasons, was second team all conference last season, led the team in passes defended, and does profile as a press corner according to the Athletics' Dane Brugler. So definitely someone that fits the Spagnuolo mold in that outside cornerback room. So this seems like more that Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson pick from last year, that kind of longer-bodied, physical outside corner that, again, it's just a body to throw out there, someone that can beat up receivers off the line of scrimmage and be a willing tackler potentially. So I think that's what we're looking at here with Nick Jones.
Yeah, and I do think it's interesting. The Chiefs go back to the MAC. They've actually got a good number of players from that small conference over the last few seasons, so just some familiarity, I'm sure, there with some of the coaches and staffs in that conference, trying to figure out who's what. But, you bring up the special teams thing, and that is probably where they're trying to go. They're thinking probably a little bit ahead with that. He could be a guy come in on the practice squad, and injuries happen, Injuries happen across the league, across the team. If he ends up on the Chiefs practice squad, there's no guarantee he might end up, getting poached off of there and end up on another team and actually make an active roster. But I do like that he does have some interceptions. They do show that he is kind of a, maybe a little bit of a ball hawk, kind of similar to how what Jalen Watson was coming out of Washington State last year. So overall, it's never a bad thing to continue to load your secondary.
Yeah, just to look at some stats for Nick Jones. He only had 3 interceptions in his college career, which is, it's not the greatest production numbers, but he really got his pass deflections up last year. Had 14 passes defended in the 2022 season. Definitely isn't used, isn't necessarily as a playmaker around the line of scrimmage. Very little or no sacks and only 1 tackle for loss. But he's definitely someone that seems to be kind of that pure press cover corner, the guy that can, again, disrupt receivers coming off the line of scrimmage, kind of disrupt their route path, their route timing. And again, that's what the Chiefs want at outside cornerback. We'll see if he has, the special teams ability, but he's not necessarily the most athletic player. He didn't have necessarily the greatest combine. 4.51, I guess, 4.51's pretty good for a cornerback. I will say a long cornerback, a bigger cornerback, 4.51, 40-yard dash, But yeah, no, this is just a swing and a guy that at best case scenario is kind of that Jalen Watson type, a corner that can contribute on the outside.
And I want to remind you guys that we have broken down every aspect of this Kansas City Chiefs draft on the Arrowhead Pride Podcast Network. So make sure you check out night 1. We got full 4 hours of night 1 breaking down every first round pick. Night 2, we broke down every single Kansas City Chiefs draft pick. And then night 3 on the podcast network, we also have every single reaction to each and every pick that the Chiefs made on day 3 of the NFL draft. And it's an interesting draft class. And now looking ahead, the things that we got to start paying attention to, the undrafted free agent class, which the Chiefs are always super active there. They always find some guys that they like that didn't wind up managing to get drafted in the NFL draft. That's where they got Justin Ross last year. And they always seem to pick up some of those guys who might wind up having a chance to make the roster. And also the veteran market that is still available right now. They could still use, some other positions, but they addressed everything that we really wanted them to address in this draft class. I think the last thing is, we're probably going to see Jerick McKinnon signed back here pretty quick for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, that's actually a great point here with the Chiefs not going running back. It definitely feels like Jerick McKinnon's back in the fold sooner than later, but definitely look out for the UDFA class. There's going to be some interesting names in the undrafted free agent class, and the team does need running backs. I mean, there's no guarantee even Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on this team by the start of the 2023 season, excuse me. Pacheco really is the staple, and right now they need other guys around him. McKinnon makes a lot of sense, but man, I could see one of these UDFA guys they end up picking up running back could end up making being a significant contributor on the roster this year.
Yeah, and there's going to be guys that fall. Not every team, there's 6 picks left. They're not all going running back here. Maybe one of them gets taken, but that is maybe the one position they didn't really address that closely. Obviously they have a lot of confidence in Pacheco. I'm sure they really want Jerick McKinnon back. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still on the roster, and his role seems up in the air right now. But I'm sure they'll do their due diligence and bring in a little bit more talent than what they have currently. But overall, this is the time to pay attention to some of those top 30 visits that they conducted with team, because now, while we're all getting ready to pack up and kind of go home and get ready to just chill out for a little bit. I'm sure y'all are getting ready to do the same thing. It's a great day on Saturday. The Chiefs aren't done yet. Brett Veach is getting ready to be on the phone for hours, getting these guys that aren't drafted, trying to see if they can get them to sign. And now he's going to have to go through the whole competition of signing a UDFA, throwing money to a guy who they actually want to bring in, a guy if they can see if they can bring him in and try to see if he could compete in the league. Just thinking back to a couple of UDFAs who made some impact on the Chiefs, Tershawn Wharton was one of those guys, very, from a very small school, Missouri S&T, a few years ago, and all of a sudden he's breaking in and playing significant snaps for 2 seasons. So Veach is definitely, he does a good job in these back end rounds of being thorough. And if they see a guy that they really like, they'll probably make him a sizable offer in, this undrafted free agent period. For with them, it'd probably be like, it'd be a significant amount of money for one of those guys, not like a giant amount, but like just for one of those guys, it would be.
And something to keep an eye out at arrowheadpride.com. We will have an undrafted free agent tracker up, assuming tomorrow or Monday at the absolute latest. We'll be all over that for you guys.
Serda, I got to tell you, it's up now.
Okay.
We don't have any updates right now,
Yeah.
but it is live and running. So as soon as we get an undrafted free agent, we'll make sure we tweet it out, and then we'll kind of get the ball rolling on that. But yeah, we're only 4 picks left in this draft, fellas. We have looked at the whole thing. We've been sitting here for the entire thing, and it's been a good time, man. It's been a good time. I've had fun.
So again, Kansas City Chiefs, round 1, pick number 31, select edge rusher from Kansas State, Felix Enadike-Uzama. Round 2, they select SMU wide receiver Rashee Rice. Round 3, they select offensive tackle from Oklahoma, Wanya Morris. Round 4, they select DB Virginia Tech, Jamari Connor. Round 5, they select edge rusher BJ Thompson from Stephen F. Austin. They trade one of their 6th-round picks. Next 6th-round pick, they take defensive tackle from Texas, Keandre Coburn. And then with their final pick in the 2023 NFL draft, they select Ball State cornerback. Ball State cornerback Nick Jones with their final pick.
We feel better about him than that.
So no, that wasn't me hating on him.
We like cornerbacks with ball skills.
I told you guys it's been a very long weekend. I need some tea or something. We've been talking so much all weekend long, but we have had a blast covering this entire NFL draft for you guys, and we really appreciate you listening to everything that we're doing here at Arrowhead Pride. So Caleb, Ron, final thoughts on the draft class, final thoughts as now we've got a much better picture of what this team could look like ahead of the 2023 regular season.
So, I mean, they addressed every need possible. I think there were a couple of, head scratching picks. That doesn't mean they're going to be bad players. I think the thing people get wrong is they see our reaction and they think like we don't want the players to be good. We generally like to be proven wrong because that means the Chiefs are doing it incredibly well, and then we get to continue to enjoy writing about them. But, I mean, FAU, he was like just you can't go wrong with him no matter what there. And, Rashee Rice and Wanya Morris, they're both going to be in some, they both have some developing to do. And, really today, I don't really have a problem with any of the picks. The Connor pick kind of came out of nowhere, the trade up. But then, they go with the guy with a lot of athletic upside, BJ Thompson. They go with a guy who we feel very strongly about is going to be playing a lot of reps as a rookie in Keandre Coburn. And then, they just take a swing right here on a cornerback who has some ball skills. He breaks up passes. He fits every box you want. He's only 21 years old, could be a special teams contributor nonetheless. So it wasn't like the most flashy draft in the world, but they addressed the needs and they continue to load their roster with highly athletic players, emphasis on the highly athletic.
And
yeah.
Sorry, final thoughts, Ron?
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, the athletic profile thing is definitely true. I mean, they've all of their picks besides Coburn have been 9 or more RAS. Actually, we haven't looked at Nick Jones yet for his RAS. It could be good. He ran a 4.5 140, but the only thing I would say, and I'm going to write about this, I really feel like this class could be one that we don't see the immediate returns maybe that we've seen these last couple classes, because it's easy when you see the rookies immediately contribute to say, okay, well, Veach knocked it out of the park with this class. We may not be able to say that as soon as we've been able to say it with these past two classes. It may take a few years until we really feel good about, the results of this class. And I really feel like that could be the case, even if a Felix and Udike Uzama plays well at first, even if Wanya Morris starts. I feel like you're going to see these guys reach their ceilings a little later than maybe, Creed Humphrey, Nick Bolton, Trey Smith. These guys lately have come in right away and have pretty much been the players they are. I don't think that's necessarily the case. This could be one where there could be some frustrating moments at first with some of these guys towards the top of the class, but maybe in a year, maybe two, maybe by the, once we get closer to the second contract, we feel better about them and maybe they kind of, change some people's minds from when they were first drafted.
And yeah, I think what you said there about, having to be a little bit patient and maybe not seeing these guys make impacts right away, like that also is a testament to the success that they've had in the last two drafts. Like, when you fill those roster needs with starters and guys that are studs, well, this is the situation you want to be in, where I think what I feel like I can confidently say about this draft class is that, like, maybe you feel like the Chiefs reached a little bit on a couple of these guys, but I don't think any of the reaches were necessarily like outrageous. Like, you address positions of need, and we talked about them trying to move around a ton, and it seemed like they were having a ton of conversations with that, but maybe weren't able to get some deals done that they were kind of floating out there, and they were still able to kind of move around and come away with a solid group of draft picks and some guys that have some serious potential. I'm excited to see these guys in action. I can't wait till training camp to see what some of these young guys look like in the Chiefs uniforms and how they fit into what the Chiefs are trying to continue as they try to go for another Super Bowl this upcoming season. So I think overall, very good draft weekend. We didn't screw up that many things. I only forgot names a couple of times. I only lost my voice once on the final segment. So I think that's a huge win. But overall, guys, I think we should be pretty happy with it. So I want to remind you guys to check out everything that we're doing at arrowheadpride.com. Again, we've got everything you absolutely need to know about the entire draft class. So there's no other place you should be going for your Chiefs information than arrowheadpride.com. Make sure you're locked into the Arrowhead Pride Podcast Network. As always, I'll have the full Day 3 podcast up later this afternoon, and also tomorrow morning we will have every single press conference from the NFL draft coming up on the Arrowhead Pride Podcast Network. So please make sure that you subscribe, rate, and review everything that we're doing there. You can follow Ron on Twitter at Ron_Kopp. You can follow Caleb at CJ Scoobs. I'm Stephen Serda. That's where you can find me. Once again, we had a lot of fun. It was a good time, Kansas City. Kansas City threw a pretty big party here at the NFL draft. We're excited to see where this draft class goes, and we will talk to you guys again very soon.